Hello there, it's Cookies, and I've got turn 11 for you. So Tzeentch goes ahead and takes the agreed upon province, loses a marauder. And then we move into Walnut Woods. So we go ahead and sail into this. Take a few casualties. These guys really did fight to the death. Alright, then we trigger a route. Alright, so we lose... Whoops, that's the wrong one. We lose 4 of the Corsairs, but we do take the province. Lose some pop there. We establish a Corsair Cove. This is good. Theoretically, we get 30 gold per month from it, but it doesn't actually say on here. So I'm not sure if it actually does. And then, let's see, and then there's some additional stuff. So if you can see here, this is the independent flag. So that means we got an exotic beast. And then we got an assassination attempt. The educated fool. Again, all of our commanders are named after Iron Maiden songs, I believe. So we've got this assassin coming after our poor mage here. She's not going to be able to do much. Yep, she just dies. We do get some stuff, though. And then in Old Giant Woods, we get our first indie attack. So this is a bunch of knights. So Misfortune 2 coming to get us, and it costs us a Chimera, which is pretty unfortunate because Chimeras are pretty nice. 64 flying HP with a Dragonfire effect, which would be pretty cool to be able to use as part of our army. But unfortunately, it's just going to fly in and get lance charged. And then they kill our PD and they kill our disabled. So we lose a Bleak Sword, we lose our Chimera, and we lose a Witch Elf. Pretty inconvenient. And it triggers our retreat stuff. So let's see. So we lose... Was it 2 units in the retreat? And we have a few units trapped in Nifl. Now, to try and rescue this this mage here, this death hag, we're going to deviate from the woodlands, and we're going to go ahead and attack Dragon Ridge. So we've got a whole bunch of garbage, and we've got... I hesitate to call it our elite squad, but it's got a couple of sacreds in it and some other troops. And we're going to try to overwhelm these lion tribe to at least get our mage to escape. And then additionally, we're moving out a new group. So this is our recruitment from last turn. It's going to come up to Tiradir, where we're also getting a few Dread Spears. We have this Cold One Knight that retreated. Getting a few Corsairs there. And we're going to go ahead and go Cave Spelunking. So we've got Pale Ones down here, eminently doable. So we're going to go expand into them. And we've lost this province. So we've lost our quote-unquote Knight PD. And I think that's most of it. We're sending another Death Hag over here. We're thinking about this being our new fort location. Originally, I wanted it to be here, but I think here might be good. We get these Ichthid shamans who can go underwater, and we get more Ichthid recruitment, and that would provide some counter raiding potential. They can travel to the capital and then go underwater. and it doesn't distract from our recruitment in the capital. And then eventually, hopefully, we can go ahead and take Ensorcelled Swamp, or like fort it, because it's got lizard shamans, and adding nature to our communions would be pretty nice. Over here, though, we can see Middenheim, so we know that Sombre's over here, and this throne is also looking pretty easy, but I'm not willing to. It's kind of interesting. So if I'm going to fight Nehekhara, because I'm pretty sure they still haven't accepted the NAP. So that probably means that we're going to fight. And fighting them, it would be easier for me on a smaller front initially. So I have sailing. I can get over here and here and potentially here. But if I take this, then that gives Nehekhara another way to come and raid me. And if I just leave these knights here, it does give the potential that he might try to funnel through. And so I can have a much smaller surface area to try to defend while still keeping my own raiding options open. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about at the moment. You can see our recruitment here, another grab bag of stuff and another death hag. Along with more foreign recruitment, we're still trying to keep our numbers up. And I think that's it for this turn. Not a heck of a lot going on this turn. So I'll go ahead and go to turn 11. Okay, and I'm back. And I forgot I was already on turn 11, so this is turn 12. So we have our double expand here. So first off, in Silver World, diving underground, we have a large number, no, not a large number, a small number of pale ones. This should be very easy. Although we did challenge them to a missile duel. Alright, we won that. And we lose one Corsair. And then we're also moving into Dragon Ridge. So you can see all the lion tribe here. So this is some arrow bait that I put up front. Unfortunately, these guys end up chasing, but we do have enough stuff following up that we're able to carry. Alright, we lose some population from those conquered provinces, and our capital gains a little, including 10 more resources. And we buy Victor's Villains. Alright, so this is our plan here. We're going to go ahead and move back into this province. We have a little bit, I would call this an expansion party. We're going to go ahead and see maybe if we can take these troglodytes. So we have a fair amount of stuff here. And then we're also moving back onto the Bloodhenge. So we've got the Victor's Villains. We have the Harpies on attack rear. We have a big block of troops that can hopefully fend off imps if the mages get new blood slaves. Our goal here is to just crush this. And then we're also going to go ahead and take Hot Hollows. So this was another one that Tzeentch left for us in exchange for the Umpholia. And in terms of recruitment this turn, we're going to go ahead and start our first Palisades finally on turn 12. Very late, but better late than never. And so we've got very little recruitment. We are getting an initiate. And I think that's all of our recruitment basically. So yeah, so not a heck of a lot happening this turn. But we are moving some stuff out here, trying to kind of like set things up. So we've got some stuff in Sitha. We're going to send some stuff to Nifl, and this is to potentially try and retake Old Giant Woods, but we'd have to prepare for a bump as well. And so I'm not sure. I'm feeling some doubts about even trying to kill these knights, or if I'd rather force Nehekhara to kill them and treat them as like a fancy PD. And I think that's it for this turn. So I'll go ahead and see you in turn 13. I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. I've got turn 13. So we've got our first attack in the woodlands, trying to get revenge on the Bloodhenge. And they got a couple of blood slaves back, but it should be much easier to deal with now. Unfortunately, these idiots still jumped on the Dark Vines rather than the mages. But you can see how killy are... now, they do get killed back. But, again, here's our Bless. So we've got Strength +9 and Righteous Wrath. They're always dying, so they should frequently have Righteous Wrath. So they hit for 29 damage, and they have the follow-on Strong Poison. So they're extremely killy units. And you can see that there. So they went right through those Dark Vines. Alright. So we lose 1 Corsair and 10 Harpies, but otherwise we take the province, so that's pretty good. I'm okay with that. And then coming down here with we find a tremendous number of cavemen. This was actually an expansion I tested to see how we do against cavemen, and Corsairs actually do alright. So and partially it's hard for them to miss over 3 or so squares with their handbows from the 2nd and 3rd ranks. And the 1st ranks still do alright in melee. Probably would have been good to look at these before they were running away. So this guy would normally have 9 attack, and right now we have 9 attack, so we actually are just as likely to hit as they are in the dark, because we've brought a little bit better unit. Alright, so we end up winning this. We do take some attrition, so we lose 14 Corsairs, but we take the province. Again, we kind of like self-pillage and send stuff home. So we have 15 resources and another 10 resources along with some other stuff. We lose some income and we gain a Berserker Pelt. All right. So you can see here we've got a little bit of unrest, but you know, we're making some income from this cave. And we're going to start sending these Corsairs out. We're going to go ahead and send this party in. It doesn't look... it's 10 troglodytes. I like to think that's pretty doable. We have a squad to be able to kill it. We have a squad to eat, I guess, like the initial trample, cause some fatigue, and maybe do some damage before the... and maybe scatter the troglodytes a little. And then after them will come the more elite stuff to hopefully hack them down. And then these Harpies we're hoping will attack rear and kill the commander. We're still building this palisade. We've got 11 PD here trying to prevent bad events. 4 months remaining. This army is, I think, going to come down and try to come secure the fort construction. So we have a fair amount of stuff here. I've decided I'm going to send this mage home. But otherwise, I'm going to have stuff patrolling here just in case. Try to catch scouts. And I'm thinking about sending this mage out to maybe start some infrastructure in Ensorcelled Swamp. And then now we have a tremendous amount of resources, but not a lot of gold this turn. So one of our most effective ways for just using a lot of these points was to get a sorceress, and then we're getting a fair number of Blackguard. And I think Blackguard should be good against Nehekhara, or at least reasonable. They have 18 protection, so they have pretty good protection. And then they half their attacks are slashing, and they still have a length 3 weapon, so they won't get repelled as much as my other troops, and they should still be able to punch through and kill the enemy. So it's a little bit of a unit that seems better geared towards fighting Nehekhara. I believe I do have naps with all of my neighbors now. Now that we've secured this border, I go ahead and we sign the one with False God. And I'm not very concerned about this army. I think it wants to go take this throne at some point, and it's probably guarding its fort. So I think that's it now. So now we're starting to think about first wars, although, you know, there could be some indies down here. So I'd rather finish expansion before fighting a first war, and my expansion has just been very slow this game. We're talking turn 13. I've still got indie lakes I can take. I can still go cave spelunking. So right now I'm thinking about, I just need to get my feet under me, probably get up some more infrastructure, and then I can go fight a war. But, yeah, well, I mean, we'll see if I'm able to do that. If I get forts up here and here, and I'm able to make a bunch of sacreds or turn this into like a heretic farm to get a bunch of demons, then I could be in pretty good shape. And I could send stuff. I'd be able to send plenty of stuff down here to go fight. Naggarond can definitely spend any amount of gold on troops every turn, so they're pretty good at raising large numbers of troops quickly. So I'm hoping I can get some infrastructure up before this likely war with Nehekhara gets going, but we'll have to see. And I'll go ahead and see you in turn 14. Have a good one. All right, I've got turn 14 pulled up. We've got one expansion. It's against the Troglodytes. So let's see how my plan works. So stuff in front is to fatigue out and scatter the trogs a little bit, and then the stuff behind is supposed to kill the trogs. Unfortunately, this is definitely more than 10 trogs. So we've got, what is it, close to 20 trogs? 17, 18 trogs. So this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. So as long as this witch elf is good, we should be good on this battle. But it looks like she's bleeding. 2 HP. Oh, did she actually recover? Yeah, all that strength pain off. Okay. So we get our asses kicked. We lose 7 of the Corsairs. We lose another Witch Elf. And we lose a bunch of garbage. But we do take the province, so that's nice. And then our capital gets a little bit more stuff. And we're thinking about, oh yeah, so we take a look here. There's more Kamo and more Bakemono. It would be nice to go down here more and get more stuff. But for now, we've got to go ahead and leave. We need to get more troops. I'm moving in to protect this palisade construction because it's getting close to finishing. I need to start rescuing my research a little, so I'm starting to make some revenants to help with that. That was why we got the sorceress last turn. And I'm going to start patrolling my cap. I'm going to keep patrolling here. I'm trying to build up some Ichthid numbers so I can expand underwater. The Corsairs are coming back out. I'm also getting some commanders to lead the Ichthids. So I found these pale ones, they're amphibians. And then also here in the woodlands, I've got merman captains to lead Ichthids. So I've actually lucked out quite a bit that I've got several sites or provinces to recruit amphibians from. Like I've got pale ones and 2 Ichthyid provinces, and then a couple of sites to recruit commanders from. Still looking at creating a fort here in Spring Bay. And then I was also thinking about making one here in Ensorcelled Swamp. And then for recruitment, we're getting a sorceress, and then we're getting executioners. Now, I don't like these quite as much as the witch elves for my particular bless, but they still hit like trucks, so they can break shields, they do slashing damage. They'll do all right when they don't get repelled, because they do only have a length 2 weapon, and the Sacreds from Nehekhara have a length 3 weapon, but I'm also getting some more Blackguard to back them up with. So we'll have to see how they do. And I think that's it for this turn. In terms of research, we've picked up Thom 1, we've got Alt 1, we've got Enchantment 3. I'm looking at running down to Blood 4 now. I'd like to increase my numbers by getting these Demonette troops. Or potentially Fiends. But I think the Demonette troop sounds pretty good. 5 Demonettes. And then it also gives me access to Bloodlust, which should be a pretty nice buff for them. Although a little harder to cast. So Death Hags don't actually cast spells in battle. It's in their description here, but they can only do holy spells. The blood here and the blood searcher is mostly for foraging and blood sacrificing and blood hunting. So a lot of the summoning has to be done by these supreme sorceresses, because they get the blood random and then the cross paths. So that's a little limiting, but you can also get these guys, but they won't get blood too. So actually it's extremely difficult to get blood 2 on this nation. You probably have to empower, which is super doable. You can empower a supreme sorceress, or a death hag can be used to summon at least, but you wouldn't be able to use her in battle to do the bloodlust. So it's probably best using a supreme sorceress, but it can be kind of awkward breaking into high blood on Naggarond. So, but I don't know, we do have some neat summons, so I'd like to try and do some of those. One of my goals for this particular game is I'd like to be able to show off the portal mechanic for getting new demon troops. And it takes a little bit to set that up, but if I can show that off, I'll probably, even if I die after this awful expansion, I deserve to get invaded. If I can show off the cool little portal mechanic for this faction, I'll think of this game as a win for at least showing off the faction for the purposes of the mod. Because a lot of the stuff for the mid game and late game is a lot more, I don't know, standard, I guess. So you break into high blood, you probably do vampires because you have the blood death cross path. You've also got astral blood, so you can do horror magic, and then you've also got air and glamour and death, so you can do all the like wailing winds and winds of death nonsense. A lot of these sorceresses 1 and 3 of them can teleport. A lot of them, 1 and 4 of them can cloud trapeze. So a lot of them will have magic phase capabilities. So you've got a very fun mid game and late game in terms of magic. Very unfun for other players, but it's not like it's nothing crazy like in terms of crazy tech. So at least not from what I've seen so far. So, and then you've got splashes of water and fire to help put resistances on later in the game, because you don't really have very many sacred troops generally on this nation. Normally you'd want to go scales. So, yeah, so I think that's good for this turn. I'll go ahead and pull up turn 15. We'll try to get 5 in again, and I'll see you in just a second. All right, and I've got turn 15. So we've got a Revenant. We got some unrest. This probably means we could be getting an indie attack in Dragon Ridge and in Ensorcelled Swamp. So we've already had a night attack and an assassination, and it looks like we're queuing up 2 more indie attacks, and then we lose a bunch of income on our cap. So despite all the fortune teller, that didn't do anything for us. And units have gotten younger. Okay. And we can see here that Nehekhara has moved into Old Giant Woods with a large army. So we're definitely at war now. So I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff out. I'm going to go ahead and patrol here with a little bit of stuff. Maybe I can kill a raider. I was thinking if one of these Lich Priests tries to move in, maybe we could snag that. If they try to do some skelly spam thing to kill PD. He's got this large army. I thought about doing an all-in defense in Sitha, but I think I want to get more stuff. And I'm keeping these troops off to the side. Now, LookingForOwls might have talked to Kidzin, or he might have a scout over here and know about this stuff. He definitely knows that I have sailing on the nation. But I do want to keep these troops as an option over here and maybe outside of a scout's view. Or at least that's my thinking at the time. I'm going to go ahead and send these commanders out. I've stopped recruiting amphibious stuff for now. I'm getting Corsairs again. More stuff to try and... Now, he's got a lot of archers. And these Sisters of Slaughter have an air shield, and they also have a length 4 weapon. So that's why I'm recruiting some of them. So you can see here, light archers, and then Guardians of Petra. Sounds really close to Petra, but Guardians of Petra. They have... So they're a shielded length 3 weapon unit. So it's these guys. They have Sun Awe, which is going to be annoying. So because of the length 3 and the Sun Awe, generally I'm going to want a high morale unit to go ahead and punch through those. So I need... So these have 16 morale. These go berserk. I'm not worried about them. These have 20 morale, the Blackguard. So they should be able to punch through. And then Blackguard Corsairs have fairly good morale. They should be okay. So that's kind of the idea there. So I'm pulling out of Sitha, and I'm sending these troops. So what I'm planning to do is, in case he has a scout in Naggarond, and if he moves into Sitha next turn, what I want to be able to do is all-in defend my cap, but have it look weak enough that this army might think it can move on to my cap. So I'm moving 150 troops here. I have a fair number of Ichthids here that I'm going to keep over here. And I've got these Corsairs. And in the cap itself, I'll have just a small number of troops and some mages. And we'll see if I can try to lure them onto my cap for a battle. And I think I would win And if I got to take that fight on my cap, then I could march straight down to his cap. Potentially, at least. And I've got my palisade here. So 2 more months on the palisade. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. So I'm doing some foreign wreck in the places where I'm massing. And getting another Death Hag. Death Hags, again, they're holy too. They're not going to cast blood spells. So I can get free banishment out of them onto undead units. Now, the banishment's not going to be super effective, but every little bit helps. And it's something they can do the entire battle. So that's not the screen I wanted to show. But just to give an idea, even these Nehekhara archers are 13 MR. The light archers are also 13 MR. The sacreds have even better MR at 15. So it is an issue, and I still haven't seen their bless, but should be able to see it next turn when they go to attack us. All right, so I'll go ahead and see you in turn 16, and we'll see how this goes. I guess this is a little bit of a cliffhanger, but yeah. Expansion's over. We still have our Indie Lakes because we didn't plan our build correctly. But in terms of provinces, we're at 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 exactly. So it was a late expansion. We're missing a bunch of gold because of it. We've had some indie attacks and we've taken a lot of attrition, but I think we've done our best to try and recover. We're at least a little viable, and we've got a first war on the horizon. So hopefully this will be fun, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye.